I'm Stuart Thompson, editor of Digital TV Europe. I'm here with Charles Cheevers, who's CTO of Customer Premises Equipment at ARRIS. Charles, we're hearing a lot about the smart home. What sort of role, what kind of opportunities does the smart home present for fixed line operators, and what kind of devices and services do you see them supporting in the initial phase?
So we think the operators play the biggest role in that, Stuart, because we don't think the DIY side is really going to take off. We think we need more curation. So the service providers have the best opportunity to bring that get you pregnant pack on IoT and smart home. So we think the devices that really make sense there include an IoT hub, which is integrated in the operator's own broadband gateway or extender rather than another device. And also the key devices that they want to use, we think, are cameras, temperature devices, particularly thermostats, also then lights, and also some motion sensors for that higher security function.
So we hear a lot about data analytics and data mining. What role will they play in enabling the smart home, and what kind of services will they enable?
That's a very good question. I think across the broadband of, say, very chatty devices like sensors, right the way through to cameras, there's a lot of data that has to be collected from the home. So on the one hand, you have sensors where you try and figure out, is the sensor tripping because there is an issue, like a door is open? Is the sensor tripping because somebody opened a fridge in an aging in place application where you're checking to see if they're eating food? But also at the other end, you have a huge amount of data coming through from cameras, because as camera resolutions go up to 4K particularly, a lot of the camera companies and the wellness companies are trying to figure out, based on looking at the images, who it is, which takes a lot of processing in the cloud. And for example, there's applications to tell whether somebody who again is aging in place, whether their cadence is disimproving, whether issues are starting to build up in terms of how they walk, and also if they even fall, the camera will detect somebody falling on the ground. So those are huge data pumps to the cloud, particularly from cameras.
So as service providers get into providing smart home services, what implications does that have for customer care? And how can they manage consumers' expectations without it costing them a fortune?
Yeah, I think I think the model is going to change a little bit, because we mentioned the DIY side of IoT, which again, you're probably on your own there. You can phone up the provider of each one of the ecosystems, but you probably won't get the greatest care from that. If you put that into an operator environment, you have, at the one hand, we think there's opportunity for sort of peace of mind type systems where, for example, you manage your own camera, yet the operator provides curation of it in terms of bandwidth, all the way through to a 24/7 security call out type service where you get real customer care for that one. So I think the operator can scale to being, what is, say, a 24/7 security provider with a knock and with somebody you call and dispatch an emergency service, right the way through to packages where you look after your own stuff, including bringing in your favorite retail brand IoT device that onboards into the network as well.
Now, as the operators get into providing these and other services and a much broader, more sophisticated range of services, we're hearing a lot about how virtualization can help them. What role can virtualization play in making the service provider's job easier?
That's always been a key question. I mean, the role of the virtualization of the home, the virtualization of the CPE devices. So we're quite comfortable with that. We think that the benefit of moving applications, particularly to the cloud, not having them locked into the home, is important. By bringing them to the cloud, then you get to avail of the analytics that also sit next to them. So from an application perspective, we think that virtualizing functions like parental controls, Wi-Fi management, and the smart home elements, where, for example, a simple application would be that you had a holiday home and you're in your own home, and if a device pings in your holiday home, like a door is opened, why wouldn't that notification come up on your TV as you're watching TV in the home you're living in? So those applications are fostered more in the cloud then by doing that. So service cadence, I think, is key in that you can develop those applications very quickly in a more virtualized model.
Finally, Charles, I want to ask you about virtual reality. What role can operators play in the virtual reality business? What opportunities does it open up for them? Yeah,
the virtual reality side, it's another part of the entertainment of video, and it should be linked with video too. So if you take virtual reality of sporting events, so you're watching a tennis game, looking left and right, the director who's doing the normal linear broadcast for that event in Wimbledon or whatever it is, he has 25 cameras that he's looking at to try and find the consumer the best particular thing to look at, particularly after the point has been won or lost. So we think that the combination of virtual reality to immerse by looking left and right as you look at it, plus then the insertion of what the director is actually finding for you that you can't see from your vantage position in row one of the seat, and merging those together to provide both a sort of a director's cut TV experience plus your own ability to find where the opportunities to look are. I think that blend is what people really want. The TV itself can also become a virtual reality renderer, perhaps. So we're looking at ideas about making the set-top, or the set-top can become the renderer, where we can use the set-top to actually render wirelessly to HMD, maybe also making the whole ergonomics of the cost points and maybe the user experience a lot better as one set-top becomes a TV point and your render to your HMD on your head then.